there's no doubt in my mind it's a lie. There's a lot of lying on a lot of these issues because people feel if they have a humane agenda, they don't have to tell the truth.
Well, no.
Now, I think what he just said right here is probably one of the most realest things I've ever heard come out of his disingenuous face, okay? Because if people feel if they have a humane agenda, they don't have to tell the truth. That reminds me of the Matt Walshes, the Michael Knowles. So it is kind of obvious now, like, if you can't answer really simple, surface level, reality check type questions, that just lets me know any other more challenging question that may be asked of you in the future is going to just be nonsense. It's going to be pure ignorant, just garbage coming out of your mouth if you can't just answer simple questions. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Dennis Prager, he was on the David Pakman Show, and they were talking about Trump, his indictment, his election that he lost, and trans people and transports and things like that. And it was crazy. It was a bunch of nonsense. And it's funny because at the start of the interview, David asked him that he asks a lot of his guests the one simple question. And when I see him fumble this question here, I knew this is like a 30-minute conversation here. And if you guys want to watch the entire thing, go to David's YouTube channel and go ahead and watch it. But when he fumbled this one question, I knew the rest of this interview was going to be a headache. It's going to be the craziest mind gymnastics that I've seen yet. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to watch two. I almost did this. We're going to watch two clips that I think kind of highlight this interview here. And once again, if you want to watch the whole thing, because I'm going to commentary over it, go to his YouTube channel and watch it. But let's go ahead and watch these two clips and let's have that conversation.
I wrote, I don't care if a politician committed adultery. I see no linkage between fidelity and being a good. My colleagues on the right want me to say.
Guests in this year.
Thank you for having me.
Just to start, and this can be so quick and then we move on, just as a sort of sanity check, I've started to ask guests in this year, last year, the following question. Is there any way to accurately say that Donald Trump won the 2020 election? Just a simple answer if there is one, and if not, it's fine for you to explain further.
So I have a relatively simple answer, and I've given it from the election day to this day.
Yes, sir.
I am agnostic, which has satisfied neither the left nor the right.
Okay.
My colleagues on the right want me to say.
So essentially, he's riding the fence. He doesn't want to say he lost the election, which, I mean, he has no proof, more factual proof to prove otherwise, because he's going to upset his base. He's going to upset his viewers. He's going to upset Daddy Donald Trump. So he doesn't want to do that. But if he says that he really won the election or got extremely cheated, then people are going to be like, you're crazy because you don't have no proof. And he's going to lose the people who are grounded in reality. And a few of those viewers that he has is going to leave. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to please both ways. You can't say, I'm going to play safe and sit on the fence. That's not that kind of question. Either he won or he lost. But of course, he can't do that.
The left nor the right.
Okay.
My colleagues on the right want me to say it was stolen. Mm-hmm. And people on the left want me to say we are certain it wasn't stolen.
Well, and half of the right also wants you to say that, right?
Half of the right wants me to, that I wouldn't say half. I would say most people on the right believe it was stolen or that there was a good chance it was.
Wow.
I don't know what that gains us, but it's fair that you ask.
What do you
See,
mean with
it's
that?
funny. You regard that as a sanity check.
I do.
So, okay, so let me offer my sanity check.
Please.
Do you believe that men who say they're women can compete with women in women's sports?
I think in a lot of sports that does not make sense.
Boom.
So how do you?
Was that the answer you expected? Because you did a little bit of a look to the side there. Did you think I was
No, I
going
didn't look to the side because I took off my earphones.
Understood, sir.
I didn't. I realized that I don't need them.
Okay. But this is a
so-
different topic, Dennis.
I'm sorry.
It's a different topic. Do we want to close on the election first?
Oh, well, you said you just wanted to ask that question for a sanity check.
Okay, and you're
Okay,
agnostic is the answer.
Yeah, yeah. So
You
I am
just don't know.
agnostic because so many things happened that were odd or unique. Like it was the first time that a president had ever, an incumbent president had ever gotten more votes than he did in his first election and lost. That all the swing states went in his favor. That 17 of the 18 counties that are considered bellwether counties went in his favor. Those who think something bad happened are not out of their minds.
Okay. I mean, we don't have to make this the subject of the conversation, but things sometimes happen for the first time. I guess the question I would ask as a follow-up would be, did you see compelling evidence from any one state that suggests that Joe Biden lost it even though he was given the win? Is there a
So let me just highlight what David just said. Just because there's a first time doesn't mean someone got cheated. I don't know why I'm looking at that camera. Does that make sense? Just because it's the first time doesn't mean someone got cheated. So that excuse right there is like, bro, what are you really talking about? Because that makes no sense. So, but okay.
single state where you feel confident it was stolen?
Georgia might be one of them. Pennsylvania might be one. And of course, people say, because I love to have people I differ with on my show. And so I read the left. I only wish the left read the right as much as I read the left.
Well, I try to, but what evidence was there in Georgia?
You probably do. I think if you do, you're atypical. But in any event,
yeah. What's the Georgia
I'm
evidence?
told all the time that courts dismissed all these cases. That's true, but that's the tragedy. See, if I were an America-loving Democrat, and there are 11 America-loving Democrats, and there are America-hating Democrats. There are both. But there are America-loving Democrats. If I were one, I would.
And there's American-hating Republicans too. You know, I mean, okay, why bring that up? But that's weird. Got you.
Say, please, let us air all of these complaints.
Yeah.
Let us have some type, as close as we can, to some neutral authority. Not rule on it. Just allow the American public to hear what evidence there might be. And I'll add another thing.
Okay.
If one
what use would that be? First off, that whole situation already went to the courts in those states. So what more needs to be done? Are we going to take public opinion over our judicial system? Because if that's the case, why do we even need courts if we're just going to base everything off of what the public thinks? And the last time I checked, including myself, we're not endowed when it comes to legal formalities. We're not knowledgeable when it comes to court proceedings and looking at evidence and information and processing it correctly to where if it's actual factual or not actual factual. So it's like, why, we already discussed this thoroughly when this situation happened. So like, what is he? I want him to elaborate on that. Like, what conversations would be new that we already haven't had after the elections, the results of the election, and what outcome would he think would happen? It'd just be a lot of bickering and going back and forth, and that's it. Like, okay, sure.
One believes, and I'd love you to respond to this.
Yeah.
If one believes that Donald Trump is a neo-Nazi fascist.
Something I've never said, but we could maybe find someone who
if,
believes that. Yeah.
Well, okay. I believe you haven't said it, but it's not germane to my argument, whether you said it or not. It's said often that he is a fascist. Excuse me. That he is a fascist is constantly said on the left, and so if you believe that, aren't you morally bound to cheat on his behalf? For example, if I were morally in Germany in 1932 during the elections that brought Hitler to power, I tell you, I would have cheated on behalf of any other party than Hitler's party.
Yeah.
Aren't you morally bound to cheat if you believe the man is a fascist?
Okay, first off, I don't really understand. I don't believe in this whole morally bound. Like I have to, like I'm obligated. I'm forced to. It's my job duty to do X, Y, and Z. No, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up to rig elections and make, like, no, that's not one of my, on my morality list is to make sure X person doesn't become president. So I don't like how he's setting up that question to force me into a position. No. And second off, it's easy to look back at Hitler's history and say, if I, some reason, knew that what he was going to do was going to happen, which, some of the information that I kind of gathered throughout my lifetime, individuals didn't know what Hitler was going to do. Like he didn't, like, that wasn't his major campaign promise. Like, I was gonna kill a whole bunch of Jews. Like, that wasn't, at least to my knowledge, that wasn't his campaign slogan. You know what I'm saying? So of course, if we can go back in time, knowing what we know now, of course I would do something. But that's the whole thing. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I don't know what was going to happen, what would happen if Trump would have won his second term. Maybe nothing. I don't know. So once again, how he's setting that question up is disingenuous in only trying to set up his argument even better, which is disingenuous.
He's a woman and he enters a stall and nobody sees anything, then why would anybody complain?
Yeah, listen, that sounds reasonable to me. That sounds eminently reasonable, what you're saying. We can talk about these other scenarios.
The battle is way, way higher.
Yeah.
The battle is what we call so-called gender care. The removal, by the way, the 2% or under 1%, whatever you said, of detransitioners.
Yeah.
I believe it's as close to a pure lie. You're not telling it. I know you read it. I read it too. There's no doubt in my mind it's a lie. There's a lot of lying on a lot of these issues because people feel if they have a humane agenda, they don't have to tell the truth.
Well, no.
Now, I think what he just said right here is probably one of the most realest things I've ever heard come out of his disingenuous face. Okay. Because if people feel if they have a humane agenda, they don't have to tell the truth. That reminds me of the Matt Walshes, the Michael Knowles, the Candace Owens. If they could present to their audience that they're doing this for the sake of America, for the sake of the world, for the sake of our souls, then they can say and act however they want. Because they're doing this for America, for the humans of the earth. So I'm just gonna say and act in any way that I want to. Come on now.
Because people feel if they have a humane agenda, they don't have to tell the truth.
Well, no, listen, I mean,
no,
let me
wait,
just
I have a proof. I have proof for this. Virtually every European country has stopped this care for minors. It has ended. England has ended it. Sweden has ended it. Denmark has ended it. Norway has ended it. And that's only the ones I know by heart.
So here's my concern about this.
We and Canada, I really apologize.
No, that's okay.
We and Canada are the worst countries on earth in terms of what we can do to minors if they say that they are the other sex.
I don't have that data in front of me, but let's just assume it's not even germane to the next part I want to go with this. Here's my thought on this. I also am not 100% on some elements of this type of care for minors. I still am learning more and doing my research. One of the problems I'm having with some of the claims that are made by those who I would colloquially say are on your side, I know not everybody agrees on everything, is that when I research some of their claims, they are lies. Like, for example, this is super specific.
Here we go.
This guy, Matt Walsh, went on Joe Rogan's podcast and said that prepubescent girls are getting their breasts chopped off. Now, let's put aside for a second that prepubescent girls essentially don't have breasts. Let's put that biological reality aside for a second. And when Joe said how many, he said, oh, it's like millions or something. And it was like 900 people over the last 6 years or something like that. When I see such blatant distortions about what is happening, it's hard to believe that these folks are operating in good faith.
Now, his answer should be, well, I think Matt Walsh was incorrect. Maybe he just had his numbers kind of mixed up, and that's kind of unfortunate. But maybe he just didn't have the proper research or the numbers in front of him. So, boom, there it is. But listen to his weasel answer.
I have no comment except to say your point strikes me as rather valid. How could a prepubescent girl have her breasts removed when so few of them have breasts?
It sounds weird.
That's his only comment to Matt Walsh's major incorrect of the numbers is, oh yeah, you're kind of right with young girls going through this surgery, but you don't want to point out the large gap in his research. He said millions, and it came to be a couple thousand. You don't think that's an issue? Oh, you have no comment, but you have comments on all this other stuff. But when it comes to this, to your homie, you have no comment. Bros, it's hard for me to respect people who can't just give a straight shot answer. I don't care if he's your friend or not. Say he was wrong, and he needs to do his better research next time. He needs to have his numbers correct. No, I have no comment, but let me comment out of my side of my neck on everything else. Bro, you're a weenie. So once again, it just feels like these individuals obviously have an agenda, okay? And this goes beyond just Republicans. This is essentially just humans. It is clear if someone has an agenda, they are going to tiptoe around reality. You know what I'm saying? You ask them what color the sky is. If they can't just give you an answer and they have to do this whole, tiptoeing and this whole gymnastic type of correlation, don't believe them. Don't fall for it. These kind of interviews kind of give me an insight to individuals like this. You know what I'm saying? We as people have to do better. Do your own research. And when you're doing your research, make sure your sources are credible. You can't just go with the first thing you read, because there's a lot of bias when it comes to media companies. It's a lot of hidden agendas. And if you only have a certain, your own echo chamber, you're only going to get that kind of information. And if they're skewing that the facts to you, then that's what you're going to base all of your opinions and perspective on. Like Matt Walsh said, millions of young girls are going through this gender care treatment, but the facts say different. When you think it's millions of these young kids, you think it's a pandemic. You think it's something that needs to be urgent, something you need to take in your own hands right now. But if the truth was told to you, it's just a few hundred, a few thousand, then you could be like, okay, all right, well, dang, that sucks. Well, I guess we could talk about something more important, like lower wages, healthcare, education. But no, they want you to focus on something, so they're going to make it more grandiose than what it really is. And once again, you just have to do your own research your sources, and then come to your own conclusion and pair that up with other individuals who are talking or having the same conversation, and align yourself with those kind of people. That's simple. But once again, if you think I'm wrong, if you think, I don't know, there's lizard people, and the Democrats are just drinking the bloods of kids, and they're rigging everything, like everything, and they don't want you to eat meat in the future, and just crazy stuff like that. Just crazy stuff. Let me know in the comments. Let me know, and we're gonna have that conversation.